Hello, welcome to LMP Podcasts. My name is Gemma Allen. I'm one of the Learning Support Mentors here at LMP. I'm joined today by two of my lovely colleagues. This is Vicky.
Hi.
And this is Nia.
Hi.
We're here today to talk to you a little bit about feedback and constructive feedback that you should be expecting probably in the workplace and how to deal with it appropriately and how to accept it. So first of all, let's talk about times when feedback hasn't necessarily been constructive. What's been your initial gut reaction?
Hear it. I just get, especially, right, it depends on who's giving me that feedback, right?
Okay.
So when I was a teacher in college, my manager gave me feedback and she had never taught it. She'd never, and I just thought, why are you giving me feedback? And you do not know what you're talking about. That was my initial reaction. Obviously to feel really angry, I just thought, like, I'm going to walk out of here.
Yeah, you definitely have this emotive response, don't you?
Yeah.
It's, you take it as destructive feedback rather than constructive feedback, yeah? You have this emotional response, it's just anger, You're just like,
How dare you criticise me?
I'm perfect at my job.
Do you not know who I am?
It's perfectly natural as well, somebody's like, basically telling you telling you you're doing something wrong, so it is just a natural reaction to have.
I must admit, as part of our role as tutors, we have to be observed, and we get feedback on how we've done. Obviously, we have the dreaded Ofsted who come in and observe us, and obviously provide feedback on that as well. And it's like, you don't see what I see, you are there, man. But at the same time, we have to accept that, don't we? Because we are not perfect. We should know we're not perfect. I'll speak for yourself, Gemma. But no one is, are there? I mean, you can be doing a job for 20 years and someone will still be able to make a suggestion on how you can improve. Yeah. We've had a new member of the team who's come in with all these fantastic, amazing technological advances things, and we're like, what's wrong with the old one?
I hate them. I'm not going to be friends with them.
But improvement is good, change is good, and you need to know where you're going wrong. And you also need to know what you're doing well. So, constructive feedback isn't just about the negatives, although we focus on the negatives. It's also the positives of what you're doing well. That's good constructive feedback.
Do you know what it is? When I was doing my teacher training, right? So obviously you get observed quite a lot during your teacher training. It's like part of the course, and 8 observations or something. And I used to love them. So I was like, yeah, come and see what I can do. But I really respected those 2 people who used to come and do them. And I used to take everything that was said on board. When I was doing my essays, I used to write down everything. Like, okay, let's say I need to do this, and I used to take it all on board. I never took it like in a critical way at all. But it was because I respected them, and actually, they never made me feel like I was doing wrong, just how I could improve. Mm-hmm. And I think it's all in that delivery as well, and also, like I said, respecting that person who's giving you it. So in my current role, when I started here, all of the tutors had to sit in on my sessions. Mm-hmm. And everyone gave me feedback, and I never took it in a negative way, because actually I did respect them all. And I was like, right, yeah, this is great, so I'm going to take all this feedback on, and actually they know better than I do. But that's also probably because I am a little older now, and I'm like, the feedback, they're not giving it to be cruel to me. No. They're giving it to make me better in my role, and I have to accept that there are spaces where I can improve.
It's supported at the end of the day, isn't it? It's, like we said, you're not perfect. You're not going into the job for the first time, doing a job for the first time, mm-hmm. being 16 and going into your first role and being thrown at the deep end. You're not going to be perfect. We've said it before on other podcasts. There is room to learn. Yeah. That's what you're there for as an apprentice. Yeah. And it's about taking that opportunity to learn, and constructive good feedback should be that opportunity to learn. And I think that's one of the key things that you should take away from any constructive feedback session.
I think it's important when you've got your feedback, is like, obviously you've got your first response, but it's like important to go away and reflect on it and think, okay, truthfully speaking, do I think I can improve in those areas? And I think reflection, we do a lot of reflection, I think, in our roles. That's what we are taught to do, but it's always, you should always think, like, even without feedback, like, what could I have done better there? What could I do better? If that was the same, if that happens again, how can I improve on it?
What went well? What didn't go well? Yeah. What will I do differently next time?
Yeah. I think for me, the first reaction to feedback is to just stop. Yeah. count to 10 in my head, just zip it up.
Don't lamp them.
Yeah, don't throw them out the window.
How many people have you punched?
Absolutely none, thank goodness, because I had this skill. Yeah. The first reaction obviously is defence, arguments, jumping in, interruption, all those things. Okay, I need to stop. Yeah, just stop that first reaction. And I do think you need to just remember the benefit of it. You know, why are they doing it? They're doing it to help you get better at your role, to give you more experience.
I think you learn very quickly that kind of the difference between somebody who is giving you constructive feedback and someone who's just being a bit of a pain in the backside.
Yes,
and
destructive.
And when it becomes destructive, it's knowing how to respond to that appropriately as well, isn't it? And remaining professional, because that person either doesn't realise what they're doing or they're just out to cause problems. And we've done a podcast on it before about, you know, those personality clashes, and it might be that personality clash is happening there. So stop and reflect, exactly what you said. Think about what they're saying, how they're saying it. Is it appropriate? If not, have a chat with them. If it is appropriate and it is constructive, how are you going to take that? How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to approach it moving forward?
And I think you need to remain professional and polite and say thank you. So once they've given the feedback, you say thank you for the feedback. But then I also think that you're going to need time to digest that information.
You can also go back and you can question, you can ask them to clarify what they mean. So sometimes you might not understand why they've said something, and you can go back and ask and say actually what did you mean by that? You know, I'm not saying not in a defensive way, but showing that you are taking it on board and that you want to try and change it, and you can say, look, well, I'm going to make these changes, do you mind coming back and having a look? So I think it's important to ask questions as well.
And whoever's giving you the feedback is going to offer solutions. They're going to offer a way out. They're going to offer they're going to give you suggestions on how to grow. So they're not just going to say you're doing this incorrectly. They're going to offer you how to do it correctly. That might be through more training. It might be through observations, you know, shadowing somebody. It could be through any means, you know, reading up on things. So, you know, constructive feedback is about, you know, being constructive, how they're going to move forward.
I think from what you were saying with the questions as well, for a lot of it, sometimes you might think, why are you giving me this? Why have I done that wrong? And if you can't understand what you're doing that isn't to their standard, that isn't right, that can be a problem. But if you are doing something right, but they are still challenging it, it's maybe, okay, well, I'd like to challenge why that's wrong. I'd like you to explain that to me in a way so I can see how it's wrong from your perspective, to help me understand it from my perspective. I think that's...
And I think as well, you've just got to remember that the person who's giving you the feedback will also be extremely scared. You know,
but also that's part of their job, is to give you feedback. Your manager has to give you feedback.
But you know, they're going to be scared. They're going to be thinking, how are you going to take it? How can I put it across in such a way that's constructive and not destructive? You know, so they're going to be feeling it as well. So you know, you've just got to bear that and have that empathy for them as well in that situation. But also
it's very caring.
It is full of strengths. That's after you've been angry. But you know, they're also going to identify your strengths as well, and that's something that you need to take on board as well.
It's easy to dwell on the bad stuff or the negative stuff, not bad stuff, the negative stuff, rather than the fact that they said actually everything else is fine, it's just that one little bit.
So moving forward then, guys, how are we going to respond positively or effectively to constructive feedback when we get it?
For me, the main point is to stop and listen. Stop your first reaction.
Realise that what they're trying to do is make you even better than you are.
Okay. I think my thing is going to be to reflect, to take that time, like you said, about step away, reflect, review what they've said, think about how it affects me, and question it if I need to help me expand my understanding of it. Fab. Thanks very much, ladies. Thank you very much.